Hello, everyone, and to all of the dealers and OEM partners, thank you for taking the time to join us today. My name is Dean Martin, the VP of Marketing at Affinitiv, and I want to welcome all of you to our showcase on mastering AEO, AI search recommendations for dealers. A couple of the things I want to mention as we get started. First, this broadcast will be available to all of you for replay, so you can best utilize these concepts and strategies. And second, we will have a Q&A portion towards the end of this webinar. So we encourage all of you to submit your questions during the broadcast and then in the Q&A section of your interface, and then we will read those during our Q&A. So jumping in here, automotive dealers, like every industry, are experiencing an onslaught of AI tools that are supposed to help you be more efficient and accomplish more. And frankly, some of these tools are great and some not so much. But this webinar is specifically about what your customers are doing and in-market shoppers and potential service customers. And they all start the journey here with all of these AI models. And all of us, everybody here today is probably using one or more of these to ask questions and learn new things, both for your personal life or for work. And while you might be using an AI chatbot at your dealership, among other tools, the question then becomes, how is AI affecting the customer journey outside the dealership? And more importantly, how has AI changed how customers find information about your store beyond the traditional SEO methods? Well, today we're going to explore that very question and beyond. And once again, I am Dean Martin, the VP of Marketing for Affinitiv, and I would like to introduce my special guest, our SEO, AEO, and GEO guru, Janae Puleo, the Director of Digital Marketing at Affinitiv. And she's going to break down all of these concepts and give you what you need to get on the road to AEO mastery. So Janae, take it away.
Awesome. Thank you, Dean, for the introduction. This is definitely a hot topic right now for all industries, but I'm excited to dive in today and cover what these AI changes mean in the automotive space. Google changed faster in the last 12 months than it did in the previous 5 years combined. The challenge is most dealerships are still measuring success the old way. Ranking alone is no longer the full picture of visibility, especially for car dealerships. In 2026, users are asking full questions instead of searching for keywords. I think by now everyone has taken note of that shift. Of course, you remember typing oil change in Dallas, Texas, for example, whereas now you might even search, I need to get an oil change in Dallas on Thursday, but I'm looking for somewhere that has fast service or minimal wait times. We can actually be as specific as we'd like instead of shrinking our thoughts to just keyword searches. We also know that AI-generated answers influence decisions before clicks happen. That means the average consumer is getting the answer they're looking for right from their initial search. They didn't need to click the blue link to the dealership's website, which took them to a blog, and then they're reading to get their answer. In fact, the answer was provided without those additional steps happening. This concept is also known as zero click, which inevitably has reduced website traffic by around 25% and still growing. So there's a very high level of trust that is placed on these AI responses, which means dealerships must earn authority and not just a ranking spot on the first page. What this means for dealerships today is questions we're receiving are being shifted from how am I ranking or what am I ranking for to are we visible where decisions are actually being made. To put everything in perspective, here are some numbers that prove changes are truly happening in 2026. 20% of Google searches trigger AI summaries, with the highest rates appearing for informational queries around 88%. This percentage references all searches, including navigational queries, which are less likely to prompt an AI response. But of course, that's just today. I would expect in the next 3 to 6 months, these numbers change significantly higher. 92% of searches with AI summaries do not result in clicks. This is cutting organic click-through rates nearly in half compared to searches without summaries. and 60% of searches end without a click. And when an AI generated answer appears, that number can exceed 80%. So again, we're seeing more immediate answers without the need to navigate further or continue doing any additional research for what we're looking for. This is a really big shift for dealerships and their customers today. So here are the big three terms that are floating around in 2026. Most of you have probably heard of them, but I'm happy to go through today through each one and how they play a role in today's search landscape. Today, real visibility comes from three directions. Yes, SEO, which is still crucially important, and AEO, which stands for Answer Engine Optimization, and GEO, which is Generative Engine Optimization. These three work together but have very different functions. The reason it's important to learn about all three is that for years, a dealership strategy focused almost entirely on SEO rankings, but visibility now happens in multiple places simultaneously. A dealership can rank and still lose visibility. And the reason why is customers are increasingly discovering information through AI summaries, conversational answers, and recommendation engines before they click to your site. So let's start with SEO, because this is still the foundation of everything that we do. SEO is about helping your dealership's website appear when shoppers search for vehicles, service, financing, or dealership-related terms. The goal is simple. When someone searches for something you sell, you want your dealership to be visible. SEO helps drive traffic, build authority, and create long-term visibility. The challenge today is that while impressions continue to grow, clicks are becoming harder to earn because Google is answering more questions directly on the search results page. And that's why SEO remains critical, but no longer enough by itself. This brings us to the next answer, which is AEO, or Answer Engine Optimization. Instead of simply trying to rank for keywords, we're optimizing content to become the answer. Think about the questions that customers are asking every day. What's the best SUV for a family? Should I lease or buy? How often should I service my vehicle? Google is increasingly answering those questions through AI overviews before a shopper even clicks to a website. The dealership that wins are the ones that are creating clear, helpful content that directly answers those questions. This is a great use case for FAQ sections and adding how-to schema for structured data. And AEO is just making sure that your expertise is what will be surfaced when AI generates those answers. But what are some risk factors if your dealership is not optimized for AEO? This means without additional oversight and a team maintaining that information, AI may answer the customer's questions using anything besides your content. Things like a competitor's content, third-party websites, online forums, manufacturer pages, or review sites, which is okay, right? But the consumer is still getting the answers they need. But note how none of those really tied back to our dealership in any way. In one example, it actually brought them directly to our competitor. The next evolution is going to be GEO, or Generative Engine Optimization. This focuses on platforms like ChatGPT and Gemini and other AI tools that generate recommendations instead of showing traditional search results. When someone asks the AI tools which vehicle is best for their needs or which dealership should I trust, the AI pulls information from sources it considers credible and authoritative. The goal of GEO is to ensure that your dealership is one of those trusted sources. This is where we build authority, provide accurate information, create very strong content, and a presence across the web so AI systems are more likely to mention, cite, and recommend your business. I really like this picture, so we have it in here again. Here we have depicted the modern AI discovery ecosystem. I would say very close to an order of use. Consumers today are no longer relying on just one search engine as the source of information. And as Dean mentioned, I'm sure many of you tuning in today can relate to using at least one or maybe two of these on a daily basis. So take a second to think about how your own search behavior has shifted. Each of these floating intelligence platforms represents a different way users are discovering brands, products, services, and answers. And it's very much the job of your SEO partner to help you be discovered. You have platforms like ChatGPT and Claude acting as conversational answer engines, Google AI overviews, and Gemini integrating AI directly into traditional search behavior. Perplexity focusing on sourced, research-driven responses, and voice assistants influencing spoken, hands-free discovery. And there are even future AI shopping agents that are expected to make purchasing decisions and recommendations on behalf of the consumer. So the key takeaway here is visibility is no longer confined to ranking on page 1 of Google. Brands need to be understood, trusted, and referenced across an entire AI ecosystem. And the challenge is that each platform interprets content differently. Some prioritize authority and citations, other prioritize structured answers or conversational relevance, reviews, or entity understanding. So when we talk about SEO evolving into AEO and GEO, this is what we mean. It's no longer about optimizing for a single search result. It's about optimizing for how AI systems understand and surface your brand, wherever decisions are going to be made. And remember, this is not a crash course on how to do it yourself. My SEO team at Affinitiv would love to be doing this for you. All right, so lots of big shifts are happening here, but we can't forget one very important thing. You cannot skip SEO on the way to AEO. SEO is in fact not dead, despite the very early concern, probably around mid-2025 when they were claiming that it was. AI-powered search is altering the digital discovery landscape in very big ways, but not everything SEO is dead in the water. In reality, AI is actually reinforcing the importance of strong SEO foundations, especially in automotive. What's changing is not whether SEO matters. What's changing is how buyers interact with information. Let's think about how shoppers traditionally would manually research everything themselves. They'd Google different models, open several tabs, compare reviews, bounce between dealership websites, and then slowly narrow down their options. The difference is now AI is handling a huge portion of that entire research process for them. Platforms like ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity, and Google AI overviews are summarizing options, comparing vehicles, and surfacing dealerships and helping buyers make decisions faster than ever before. But here's the important part. AI still needs trusted sources to pull from. That means AI relies heavily on the same core signals that we've always built through SEO, like the list that you see here on the left. So please don't ignore SEO in favor of chasing AI optimizations because you would actually be weakening the exact foundation that AI systems rely on. The chart on the right depicts what is actually evolving. So we're moving from ranking pages to becoming the cited answer, from keyword stuffing to contextual relevance, from traffic only thinking to visibility and influence across AI ecosystems, and from generic local pages to highly authoritative regional content. For dealerships specifically, this matters because the purchase decision is increasingly happening inside the search experience. AI and search engines are compressing the funnel. This means dealerships with strong SEO foundations are more likely to appear in AI summaries, surface in those local recommendations, and show up in conversational search, and ultimately influence the buyer decisions early in the journey. So the key takeaway is SEO is not dead. It's becoming the infrastructure layer behind AI visibility. So we've learned AI doesn't show people an entire page with 10 different answers where you click through all the links until you're satisfied. AI is going to learn who is the best. And when you ask an LLM, it's going to give you a response without you needing to click anything. Back in the day, you had maybe 10 plus chances to show up on page one. But with AI, you have one chance to be the answer AI recommends. It's a much more competitive space to be in, and dealerships can't certainly manage all of this on their own. So let's talk about how we at Affinitiv are learning to be in this new space. And I can promise you that we are not guessing. We measure, analyze, and engineer your position inside of AI. At Affinitiv, we have invested in an AI toolkit that allows us to use real-time AI visibility intelligence so that we can track exactly where your brand is being mentioned. We can see where your competitors are showing up. We identified the questions customers are asking to directly ensure that we are answering them. And we can impact through foundational SEO, AEO, and GEO how your brand is cited and chosen in those AI responses. Our AI Market Authority is a proprietary search positioning system designed to make your dealership the source AI trusts to be number one. Keep in mind, we're not looking for clicks. Today, we're looking for conversions. As I mentioned previously, it's not unlikely that a customer sees your dealership in an AI response and takes action right away without clicking to your site. They may book an appointment, make a call, visit the showroom, or something right then and there. And we have to recognize this changed behavior. By now, I'm sure you're all thinking, well, what proof do we have? What happens if I sit back and let my competitors spend the money and I'll just wait and see if this whole AI stuff actually affects my dealership? Well, let's take a look. The top image shows a snippet from our AI reporting. This dealership had basic SEO and then canceled their services to get altogether in March. Almost instantly, the lack of SEO and AEO caused their AI performance to drop drastically. Those are all opportunities for their competition to rise in the visibility of AI answers. The second image below depicts a dealership that recently underwent a rebrand, which typically goes through a period of lost visibility during the time of transition. However, this dealership is on our SEO and AEO service, and unsurprisingly has seen a steady rise in AI performance since their rebrand. So you can see the difference of what this service and everyday attention to these type of things, how they will impact your website. I know I threw a lot of information your way, so I want to take a moment to really recap why this is so important for dealerships right now, and that we should be really looking at these changes as the new search playbook. Remember, at the end of the day, the customer is never going to lose. They will find their answer that they're looking for, whether that be for service or sales, and it's up to you to decide if you would like to be part of their shopping journey or not. We learned AI is going to serve up answers to customers based on trust and numerous other factors. But the question is, are you willing to do what it takes so that your dealership is the one being recommended when someone searches for the best place to get an oil change or who has the best lease deals? At this point, it's either going to be you or your competitor. So what's the solution? It's investing into a strong SEO, AEO, and GEO service like what we offer here at Affinitiv. It's no longer just about ranking. It's about showing up in those very specific questions, and you are the best answer. And lastly, what expectations am I setting as we look at these results? Well, you can guarantee more search visibility, more trust, which leads to more chances of being chosen as the AI answer, and then ultimately best of all, more sales and more quality traffic and leads.
All right, Janae, thank you. It's certainly a lot to digest with this massive change in consumer behavior, and it's coming more complex every day, it seems. I want to jump into our Q&A portion of the broadcast, and we received a few questions I want to jump in with. So first question from Wyatt. What are your thoughts on Google coming out and saying GEO and AEO are just SEO, not separate disciplines?
I think it's important to make sure that we're tying everything in together and working as one. There's a lot of moving parts and changing parts, even in the last 6 months alone. And with that, there's been reference to one is more important than the other. Now they're all the same. And in reality, I think the goal is to really use all three in as a combination and be working towards all of them together. I know that we've as a company transitioned to how we're handling that over the past 6 months alone, and we very much are moving towards making sure that with an SEO service you are receiving all three. There is a difference between just SEO and focusing on SEO metrics and performance versus focusing on AI specific performance and how you're showing up. So I do think that they're all kind of evolving and working in tandem, but there is a big difference of shifting through we're looking at keyword rankings to now we're strictly reporting on how am I showing up in AI. So those reports alone that we're providing to our customers look very different these days.
Yeah, and just to add to that, I think the definition for SEO has gone from search engine optimization to search everywhere. Whether you're searching on your mobile device and you're asking Siri, or if you're asking Alexa, or if you're going to one of the AI models to get your questions answered and to learn things, right? Okay, next question. If I'm ranking well already for my website, why do I need to pay attention to AEO or GEO?
Yeah, absolutely. A dealership can rank number one and still lose visibility. So if AI answers the customer's questions before they ever click, we're already seeing situations where impressions remain strong, but clicks are declining because AI is handling these interactions. So the dealers that adapt now will maintain their visibility as consumer behavior continues shifting. So that's why we continue to try to tell people that the earlier we adopt into this, the earlier that AI systems will recognize, memorize, and continue showing you as the best answer.
Excellent. Thank you, Janae. Next question. If you were sitting in my seat as dealer principal, what would keep you up at night?
Well, what would concern me, I don't think is losing rankings. It's becoming invisible in the places consumers are starting to seek advice. So if customers begin relying on AI recommendations, which they are, there's a huge level of trust that people are placing on AI answers. And if my dealership is not the one being mentioned, I may not even realize that I'm losing market share until months later. So it's not something that you can instantly see, but scary enough to where if you are not in those responses, you could be losing out much longer than you realize.
Excellent. And then let's see, one more question. Can AI really influence vehicle sales?
Absolutely. Think about how consumers shop today. Before they ever step into the lot, they're asking questions about reliability, safety, fuel economy, service costs, financing, or even the dealership's reputation. So if AI is helping answer those questions, it's already influencing purchase decisions.
Awesome. Well, that is going to bring us to the end of our session today. If you are interested in learning more about AEO, GEO, or any of the solutions mentioned during this broadcast, feel free to visit affinitiv.com, which you can actually scan the QR code on your mobile device on your screen right now, or you can contact either of us directly at the email addresses shown here. On behalf of Janae and myself, we'd like to thank each and every one of you for joining us here today and wish you much success and wish you a great day and an excellent week. Thank you.
Thank you.